Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Morning, girls.
Morning.
Morning.
Hey, greetings to the queue. Think there's anyone listening in the queue?
Oh, possibly.
Can I say, I wish we had a live feed of the queue.
Listen,
I'm obsessed.
If you're in the queue and you're listening to this or whatever, do let us know, because I'd love a queue. When I say the queue, I mean capital T, capital Q.
Yeah.
I'd love to have our own The Q correspondent who's down there.
Oh, so
brilliant.
And let us know if you spot any famous faces.
You never know. But I'll settle for any Q anecdotes, any Q-based anecdotes. I myself, 2 weeks ago, queued to see the relics of St Bernadette.
Oh,
So I don't mind a queue.
you know how to live,
I'm
Frank.
going to call that a
Tell you.
peak you story.
Yes. Well, it's about, it's what your priorities are. And I was happy to queue for that. There was a very nice queuing atmosphere, as I'm sure there is in the queue.
How long was your queue?
Well, it wasn't that long.
Okay.
I queued for half an hour.
Oh, fair enough. Well, that's a commitment.
Yeah. What annoyed me is I saw Phil and Holly going in up front. Laminates on.
They've got form, haven't
Yeah,
they?
not even Catholics.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. Just nosy.
Did you hear the rustling of laminates?
Oh, man. So, I would say I queued for 18 hours to get Rolling Stones tickets in 1972. I hope I never reach a stage of my life where there isn't something worth queuing for. Do you know what I mean?
There is a purity to it, which I imagine appeals to your Catholicism.
I just think, I bet you it's a great old atmosphere in that queue most of the time. I went and had a look. I did my version. I went and had a look at the queue
You see,
the other day.
yeah.
Just to see what a really big queue looks like.
You see, I get queue anxiety.
Do you?
Yeah.
How do you fare in Pret a Manger?
Well, that's
because
the thing.
filter throws havoc.
I just know that if I joined this particular queue, when I got to the front of the queue, I'd realised there was a much shorter queue, just a couple of queue lines along. Very much like in a sort of supermarket scenario where somebody was a lot quicker and more efficient at getting people through the queue. I'd be like, oh, dang you, I should have moved.
Well, I had an incident in the St Bernadette relics queue.
You always do.
They're touring at the moment, by the way.
Right.
I think it's mainly thigh bone. There was rumours there could be a kneecap. We don't know for certain. They don't give you the details. But it was. I mean, I went there in all sincerity and prayed at the relics. I'm not trying to pretend it was comedy. But I had a woman in front of me, and this is a problem I have in queues. The ones who were looking around at the rest of the queue and stuff. And ahead of them, people have moved forward, and there's a gap of, say, 20 feet. And I'm thinking, would you just move forward?
Oh, already that set me off. That set me off. A slow mover in front and a fast mover behind. That's absolute queue anxiety.
Guys,
right
I've
there.
got an even worse thing. How do we feel? I mean, I don't have to ask how Frank Skinner feels, so let me rephrase this. Zoe, how do you feel about the queue joiners? Oh, I was saving my place in the queue.
Oh, yeah, I had one of those. My family are down there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you don't get, to be honest, in the St Bernadette queue, there's a lot of love and, you know what I mean? There's a lot of kindness going on.
No, but the saving the place.
Saving the place, I'm not on board with that. My wife will do that for people, or we'll spot people in a queue that we know, and then we'll go, should we join them? And I will like,
No.
never. I would rather spend my last days in this queue
Wow. Respect.
than do that.
Respect. You're a formal
I'm
queuer.
a very formal queuer. It's been often said of me, Frank.
One of my queuing...
You're a formal queue.
One of my distinctive queuing activities, because I refuse firmly to join in with the modern world fascination with luggage on wheels, and I just carry a bag, is I do, when I queue at the airport, I slide it along with my foot along the ground. That's every now and again, like a horrible dragged Frankenstein Igor foot. Oh, man. But I do love a queue. I'll tell you what, if you've got any memorable queue anecdotes, if they're from the queue, that's great. But from any queuing you've done over the years, I've got one actually about the Rolling Stones, which I'll share with you soon.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
So,
Ultra Magnus, guys, has been in touch.
Oh, yeah.
Old Mama... I'll start again. Old Mama Magnus. Why am I struggling to say that? You say it.
Omar Magnus.
It's quite weird to say. No, Old Magnus.
Yes.
Queued yesterday up at 4 a.m. to join it for 6:55 a.m. to see HM at 7:10 p.m.
Very good work.
Home at 9 p.m.
Oh, that's quite a doubt. But that's someone she'll talk about the rest of her life. That's my view on it.
I suspect she will.
I'll tell you what I would queue. I'd queue to see the new king sign an official document.
With a bic.
Well, because one of the highlights of the week, and obviously it's been a difficult week for the country in many ways, but the king, I'm calling him the king because there's this thing of calling him King Charles. Oh, that king. You know what I mean? It's just call him the king. Also, I heard on Absolute News they said, "Oh, and King Charles's car is a right." And I thought, I don't like Charles's. Do you?
Charles's.
What do you think?
Charles's. Yeah,
too many S's,
yeah, it's like a hive, some sort of beehive at the
There
end.
is something strange, though, if the previous person with your job title was Charles II.
I know, it
it's
looks quite different. Looks quite different. But yeah, he was. I'm just calling him the king. I mean,
Are
get
you?
used to it.
But did you quite like it? It almost felt like I was in some sort of 1840. It was like, God save the king! God save the king!
Yeah,
I
but you
liked
know
it.
what? I think we've established on this show I'm a bit of a git. And it's good for me to have people in high places who I think,
Yeah.
I get that. And I was watching the first signing of documents when he became king, and I can't really do it on the radio because a lot of it was gestures, but I don't have a silly little tiny table for two massive documents and an inkwell and some pens. So he was just get this. I thought he was going to throw it at the bloke. And I know that look from an assistant when they look at you
I know that look.
blankly like that. And you're thinking, it was such a case of one job. You got one job. Just give me enough space to sign this. Anyway, the other day in Northern Ireland, best of all, he's given a pen, the king, that leaks. Oh, man. And he says, "Oh, God, I hate this." and then he says, "Forgive this." It's a quotation of the king, so it's all right. "I can't bear this bloody thing." And there's ink all over his things. And the best of all, for me, I'd like this on a T-shirt. Every stinking time. Oh, man. Rage.
Yeah.
But what's the aides doing? One pen required to sign your name, and it's leaking.
Every stinking time is your absolute.
Every stinking time.
You go away.
He should have used the
They gotta be sacked, those people.
But it's difficult. It's a problem because obviously we know my mother had a rule: no biros. You won't have biros.
Your mum too.
Oh, she hated biros. She would never, ever, ever sign your name with a biro. She thought it was rude.
Just quills.
We weren't allowed. We had to have. So we always had pens in the house. She just thought if you're when you're signing books to friends and things.
Absolutely. I mean, when I'm
yeah.
not here, I'm sat at the front of my own queue of people waiting for me to sign.
No, I mean when you're giving someone a book.
No,
say,
fair enough.
To Zoe, I thought an inscription. She thought that. So it's things like that. You have to have a fountain pen for that. But it is a messy business.
I know, but it's the king signing an official document. Check the pen out. Have a look at it. Don't just stand around.
Do you still got those little cartridges in a fountain pen?
You can
No,
do
we
that,
don't use
or
cartridges,
you can sock it straight out the jar. Yeah, there's an option.
There's a lot
if
to
you've
go
got one of
wrong
those little
there.
plungers, well,
Did Quink make anything else other than that? Because they were quite. Do you remember Quink?
of course, yeah.
But that was all they made.
Yeah.
That's enough, isn't it? Ink. I mean, it's fairly
I
well
imagine them
used.
sitting around going, "This will never run out. It'll always be popular."
But honestly, they might as well have given him a baby squid for what they gave him. Ink all over the place. Every stinking time.
Absolute Radio.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
I just saw footage of David Beckham in the queue on the telly. No footage of me in the St Bernadette queue,
No.
I noticed.
No. Somewhere, you'll be on a CCTV camera
Well,
somewhere.
yeah, it's not the same, is it?
Just kicking your bag forward.
Not the same. Also, I just saw the king in full uniform. I bet they get the pens right when he's got the sword on.
I bet they do.
Get the pens right today. He's wearing the sword.
You don't want any leaking.
Imagine if the sword. Right! Who used this pen?
Every stinking time.
That'd be great.
Frank, we've heard from our wonderful readers.
Did I tell you when I met Prince Charles, by the way, when he was Prince Charles?
No, but I insist you do.
I met him a few times, but I actually went to Clarence House for a King James Bible anniversary event where he dished out the Bibles. I still got that. Anyway,
Did he sign it?
he said to me, I think he has signed it. But anyway, he said to me, yeah, well, the pen was all over them.
Yeah.
Now, he said, are you on YouTube? I said, well, I am on there, but I haven't put my... He said, oh, I've got my own channel now just this week. And he said, I was reading some of the comments. And I said...
Don't do that.
I said exactly what I said. Really, don't read the comments. And he said, "Well," I said, "No, honestly." And this is I always thought I only said this because he was a prince. I said, "I beseech you, do not read." When I said it, I thought, "What am I saying? Beseech."
That's fabulous.
At least you avoided saying thee.
But whatever you think of the royal family, just human being to human being, I did not want him to look at the comments on his YouTube, because you can imagine some of the horrors
You
that
don't
would be
want
on
to
it.
be reading what Wyoming 64 has to say.
No.
Nobody does.
No good will come of it.
But he said, maybe I'll get my assistant to vet them. So I said, I think that's
a very good
really,
idea.
really. Obviously, we've now established his assistants are basically rubbish. But even so.
But hard to sort of imagine Prince Charles as he was sort of sitting there flicking through his iPad looking at the comments and people are like, how dare they?
No, but he'd be upset, wouldn't he? It'd be horrible stuff. I remember on the way in, I looked at my phone, and you know when you're offered Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and it said it was something like Majesty 121 or
brilliant.
something like that came up. I was on his, got offered his Wi-Fi.
I'd love it if he had a humorous, slightly cheeky... You know when people give Wi-Fi silly names?
Yeah.
I always lose about 12% respect for my neighbours when I see that.
Yeah.
Like there was one...
12%, a whole 12%.
It is about 12, because it just takes the edge off it. It's like things like two gals and a guy, Wi-Fi. And I think, oh no, come on, just call it something sensible.
I think I had a neighbour their password was, or their name was, their Wi-Fi was Hillary Clinton's private server, which always made me laugh.
Really? Oh, well, they'd gone the extra mile.
We've heard from the outside world, Frank. Can I briefly share this with you? We have more incoming. 597, Simon of Sudbury, one of our regulars, as you know. In a former life at boarding school, my friend Donal, Sir McIntyre, suddenly swung round from his desk in front of me, grabbed my royal blue Quink ink and drank it. I asked why. He said from his newly painted blue mouth, chin and neck, that he was thirsty. He suffered no ill effects. That's Simon of Sudbury.
Wow.
I bet he left his mark on various places after that.
Well,
Lovely.
I don't want to think
Every
about
stinking time.
it. Yeah.
It's good that he suffered no ill effects.
Is Quink which that was like most people's ink of choice, Quink. Does it now have to be called Kink?
Lovely.
Oh, interesting thought.
The best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Producer, all right, Frank? Oh, she's still standing. Isn't
I think it's, yeah, she's still standing. Elton, you're right. Well, you just seem a bit. Okay.
Frank,
Is Elton all right?
Question: why does Elton? He's quite extreme spectacles wearer.
Yeah.
He only does square or round. Nothing in between.
Oh, he must have done stars. He must have done stars.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
he did everything.
He certainly did.
But do you know what I mean? He's a statement spectacles wearer.
Yes.
So either very square or very
Based on the
round.
windows in Play School, his glasses have to fit through.
Wasn't there a house? There was a house in the paper once that looked like Elton John. It was a thatched cottage with square upper windows, and it really looked like Elton John.
Well, you told me that all the mums in your school playground growing up looked like Elton John.
They did look like later Elton John, yeah. You know, the Yummy Mummy, that didn't exist in Birmingham in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, did they not? Well, come back on the way back.
They
from
look
the
like Sir
exercise?
Elton in big coats. Yeah, but we love them.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, I don't know where we got to that, but it doesn't matter. Who
Okay.
cares how we got to it, as long as we got there.
Exactly.
That's what Roald Amundsen, I remember, said to me once.
Extraordinary.
Okay, so I was driving down Park Lane last night,
Fancy.
Very nice.
and ironically, I couldn't find anywhere to park. And that's deliberately misleading people, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Emily asked me not 5 minutes ago
Yeah.
who was Daryl DK.
Well, I was intrigued by a video, a West Brom player. He's a West Brom player, I know that
Yes.
much. But there was a video that seems to have gone viral of him.
Well,
Yes,
Daryl
Don D.
DK, he made a confession this week, which I think you particularly will like, Emily. You being a fashion goddess of old,
Yeah.
less of the
That's
old.
the old, thank you.
That Daryl, who arrived at the Albion, what would it be, about 8 months ago, I suppose, something like that, and got injured almost immediately. And
Where did he come from? Barcelona?
He's playing in the MSL. Is that what they call it? The American League?
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. So-
Major Soccer League.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
so
he's playing out there. But he looked the part. It looked like he was going to be great. So he got injured, and then he started this season. Thank goodness he'd got over it. He got injured again.
Oh.
So he's had time to,
Reflect.
think about stuff, go on social media. And one of the things he's confessed to is having been here for 8 months. When he first arrived, he went out and got all his stuff so he could wash his clothes in his lovely flat and all that. And he realises now that for the last 8 months he's been washing all his clothes in dishwasher fluid.
He's got the old Powerball going on.
Yeah,
on the
somebody
smalls.
said on Twitter, I think he said he's arrived at the training ground smelling like a Finnish Powerball. But he had no idea. So I don't know what that... I wonder if he gets those lumps of pasta. You know those lumps of pasta sauce that just never come off in the dish? You have to do them
Oh, yeah.
separately with your fingernail. I hate that.
Well, I've only just discovered the whole salt thing.
Oh, so what is that about? Somebody said, I said, it's not cleaning properly. They said, if you put the salt in. I said, no, I'm not talking about the Victorian wash house that I have in my cellar. I'm talking about a dishwasher, a 21st century dishwasher. Now you have to put salt in. I bet Daryl DK didn't know that. He's probably put it in his washing machine. Salt, now salt.
He'll be cooking fish and chips in his dishwasher.
Exactly.
This is the best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, can I point out something I said this week?
Sure.
Which shows me to be something of a buffoon.
Really?
You know, when you meet, I'm always, I try to contribute in conversation. I'm always...
You certainly do.
I really try to make an effort. And I met Beth England, who is a footballer of some note, Chelsea and, ironically, England. And there was
Lovely use of ironic, Alanis.
there was a Mike England who played for Wales. I don't know if you remember him. Anyway, so I met Beth England, quite exciting, England player. And I was asking her about when I first became aware of women's football, Doncaster Bells were one of the big teams, and I said I don't really hear of them now. And she said I used to play for Doncaster Bells, and I said, are you from up there? And she said I'm from Barnsley, and I thought I've got to have and I said that is a weird coincidence. I had a Barnsley chop. For lunch.
You didn't
today.
say that.
That was my...
Frank, why did you say that?
What a small world, I said. What? Then after I thought, what am I talking about?
I think that's really weird, Frank.
I know, she must have thought, really?
Imagine what would be the equivalent if you said you're from Birmingham? If she'd have come up to you and said...
She said, yeah, we've got pollution where we live. The way she looked at me, I assume she knows what but maybe she doesn't know what a Barnsley chop is. Maybe in Barnsley it's not a thing, they just call it a chop.
It's just quite
You
a
know
weird
a Barnsley
thing.
chop? You're looking at me confused.
No, I
Pierre.
don't.
I only know because he always goes on about Barnsley chop.
It's like a double. It looks like a game. Do you game at all?
Well, of course.
It looks like, if you can imagine a game controller, the handset made of meat.
I can.
Yeah,
Keep talking.
That's what it looks like.
Lady Gaga.
If they ever bring out a game where the controller is made of meat,
Yeah, they won't, Frank.
I'll be one of those people camping out, like for a royal wedding.
But exactly, but
Before it goes on the turn. We've only got 3 days.
but honestly, what a small world! I had a Barnsley chop for lunch this morning.
Oh, Frank, I'm so embarrassed.
I
I hope we
know.
don't see her again. Imagine what she's telling people about you.
It's one of those things that when I look back on it, I can actually make my cheeks go a bit red just thinking about it. If it gets cold in here, I might be glad of that.
The best of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
What's my big discovery of the week? When a thing happens and you think, they say that every day is a school day. When you learn something and you thought, oh man, I've been wrong all my life about this, and now I have at last seen the truth of it. I was 100% convinced that a pine marten was a bird. I would have put 10 grand that Emily, I can see you were with me on that error. Am I right?
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, typical Pierre will know.
Of course, Pierre knows.
He won't just know. He'll know He'll know everything about this thing.
Penis martinus. I wish I hadn't said that. That was an accident. I think you can say that. It's medical.
Yeah. You said it with a U. I heard you pronounce the letter U very clearly.
Exactly. It was Latin. It was the most Latin thing I've ever said. Well, obviously not so much Latin thing I've ever said.
Yeah.
Say quite a lot on a Sunday morning.
I was going to say.
Yes, a pine marten. If someone said that, look, there's a pine marten, I'd have looked up.
Yeah.
Not into the undergrowth.
As long as you didn't try and translate it from the Latin.
Yeah.
No,
Can you pick the
I'll never
producer
do
up
that
from
again.
the floor?
I will never do that again. A pine marten can mind its own Latin business.
What is a pine marten? Oh, I like that I don't know. I want to prolong the ignorance for a bit.
Oh, do you?
I kind of do. Do you never get that?
Well, I feel I'm slightly blowing its cover now.
Yeah.
It's a little furry animal, stoat-like.
It sounds very up my Strasser.
Yeah. Yes. I think one of its... I know nothing about it other than it doesn't fly. I'm taking the facts one at a time. Doesn't fly, not a bird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gobsmacked. Absolute. A bloke said that we're worried on the telly. This is how I found out. So we're worried that the pine marten population has been reduced. He said, but there's been signs just lately they're coming back. And I thought, well, that's good. They're getting a lot of cover. There's plenty of other birds struggling.
What are you thinking? Who's their PR?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't see as many starlings in the garden as I used to.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw there was a documentary about it on PBS, which was Stalin the Terror Years or something. So I don't know if that's what got rid of them. But anyway, then a picture came up, and I thought, well, I can't even see the pine marten. There's some stoat in the way. The Pine Martin has been photobombed by a stoat. I mean, somebody should have checked this before they brought it up on the television. But no, it is a furry animal. And I like the idea that the first link of the show has been establishing that single fact.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolute Radio.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
I just saw that Rishi Sunak's slogan is ready to Rishi. Ready for Rishi.
Ready
It's not,
for
let's
Rishi.
get ready to Rishi.
No, I'm
Let's
hoping-
get ready
I'm
to
hoping-
Rishi.
I'm hoping he's going to sing, "Are you ready? Are you ready for Rishi?" And then all his supporters will go, "Yes, I am."
And they would have
man.
that kind of accent.
Yes.
And
Well,
I
I'm
can say
guessing.
that.
I don't know.
I'm allowed.
And less rhythm.
I
No,
don't
they would say
know.
it like that. They go, yes, I am.
Don't forget the blue wall. They might be going, "I am."
I like the idea of a lot of sort of Winchester choristers going, yes, I am.
I'd say he likes a video.
Yeah.
He might be putting that out there. But he'd have them, and then he'd have some blokes with whippets.
Yes.
But they wouldn't do the "Yes, I am." They go, "Aye."
Aye.
Just to show that I hadn't been completely won over.
Yeah.
Not yet. Let's see how the intercity development goes.
They
Yeah.
say they changed,
Intercity, inner. Sorry.
they changed the lyric a bit, frankly. They go, I don't mind.
Always, "Are you ready for Rishi?" Cut to them. Happen. Listen, I got to tell you something. We listen to a lot of Absolute Radio in our house, and I'm not just saying that. I'm not being the company man, but we do. It's on all the time.
Yep.
My partner in particular never puts the radio off.
She loves a bit of Dave Berry.
Oh, she loves Dave Berry. And this week, my partner, who you've met, Pierre,
Yes.
she has that malapropism thing, which, in case you're not aware of this, is not so much saying, well, she does say the wrong word, but she gets, if she tries a proverb or something that obvious.
She'll say, here's an example. She didn't actually say this, but just like she'll say, well, he's going to hell in a handlebar.
Yes, exactly.
There's always something
Well,
a
I'll
bit
give
wrong.
you an actual one. She was on about some bloke who'd done some, been caught out in a lie at work. And she said he just looked up like a goldfish in the headlight.
Yeah, that's Pete Cat.
It's a bit Chappaquiddick. But this week, I don't know what the subject was, but some subject cropped up, and she said, "Oh yeah, they were talking about that on Shane and Richie," which was supposed to be Bush and Richie, but had been turned into an Alfie Moon sort of split personality thing. So I know now I will think of them as Shane and Richie
Shane and Richie.
forever.
Think of them. I'm never calling them anything else.
And I like the idea that Shane Richie's got enough personality for just to be spread into two presenters.
Very emotional documentary about him. And
Yeah.
was it Shane who said that, or was it Richie?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's got that pop star rock and roll thing, and also a cheeky chappy and an actor. I mean, you know.
I'm seeing it more as a documentary about trying to find out what happened, in which Lionel Richie investigates what happened to the second series of Shane.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, I like Lionel Richie as a detective.
Well, you do now. He's so obsessed by Shane.
Yeah, he's still around, is he,
Yes,
Lionel?
he's still very
I'm
much
glad-
around.
glad
yeah.
to hear that.
What's your favourite Lionel Richie song? I like Hello.
Obviously, I don't know any of his stuff.
Don't you dancing on the ceiling?
No, I don't like that stuff.
It's got to be done. If he did do a documentary, you know that whoever sort of wrote the interstitial bits would be all the puns. Or all the kind of like crowbarring in the titles of his
dancing
song.
on the ceiling.
Yeah. And I wasn't dancing on the ceiling when I realised that,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
If it was about like his breakdown, it'd be like dancing on the feeling.
Yes, yeah.
Or something like that.
My only objection to that song is I don't like songs where there's enforced party noises in the background. Like, woo!
Yeah.
I can't bear that. You're not in a party, you're at a studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the worse to play a song like that in a sort of massive empty room.
If
Really
you did
underlines the contrast, the lie.
if you did a documentary about getting boils when you're on the International Space Station called Lansing on the ceiling.
Oh,
Come on, weightlessness, boils. How often do you hear those two mixed together? I'm still
You don't.
reeling from interstitial.
The best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, I was telling you, so I saw something on BBC Breakfast this morning which made me have a bit of a chuckle.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know the names of these particular presenters, but there's always a man and a woman on there. And the woman, she's like a very sort of, like a head girl kind of a... She's the head girl that you're secretly in love with, but you're too frightened to tell her because she might hit you with a hockey stick. She's got that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they had a man being interviewed who was in Belfast, not the place, but the film.
the Kenneth Branagh.
Kenny Branagh
Ken Branagh.
has done this. And they had him talking about, the film and how great it was to make it and et cetera, et cetera. And then it came back to the studio and the guy said to the head girl, he said, have you seen Belfast? She said, yeah, not for me, really. I didn't like it.
Oh, my God.
She said, I didn't love it, but it was, the kid was good. I thought, wow, respecto mondo. It's this, the Mark Commode, she's broken the Mark Commode, as in mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a great moment of, not really.
God.
Yeah.
Someone's tearing their hair out in a PR department somewhere.
Well, I don't know if she can stop it now. It's a bit of it's already on its trajectory to success.
Well, it's not something you expect of BBC Breakfast, which is why I like her.
I think the trouble is with getting up early in the morning is you don't know quite what you're saying.
Yes.
I was on BBC Breakfast and Bill Turnbull said to me, now, you've done some terrible jokes, haven't you? And he rattled off these subjects. And I said, yeah. And he went... and then there was it just completely, and I was just tired. I was tired. If you like, I did those jokes, and that was so it. Sort of got me. If I tried to defend it, it probably would have become a bigger thing.
Yeah,
but not that time of the morning.
You were so tired that you automatically followed the sort of aristocratic never apologise, never explain.
No, it wasn't even that. I was just fact checking.
Did you count them off on your fingers as you listened?
I like you've done some terrible jokes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Bill.
Coming up next.
Yeah, exactly. And now how to make the perfect flan.
I'll tell you what I like though. I like the brunch one. What's that one?
Sunday brunch.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Sunday brunch. What is the advice they always say to you? The same thing on Sunday brunch. You have to do a photo for the PR.
Oh, yeah.
The photographer always says, not holding a knife, please.
Really?
Yeah.
In case of future revelations.
Just it's not good for the show. Could be, blah blah blah, making light of blah blah.
Oh, God.
Now, where do they stand on forks?
Well, they never mentioned forks.
As long as you don't hold them overhand above your head,
Yeah, that's it.
like a trident, they're okay.
No, so good to know.
This is the best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Okay.
Outside.
We've had a few.
Okay.
Outside.
World tweets, we've had a few. But not too few to mention, I
Do you know
hope.
that puts me off people a bit?
What?
When their song... I mean, it's late to be put off them, but if they choose as, let's call it their final song, My Way.
I told you my way
It's a bit
embarrassment,
naff, isn't
didn't
it?
I? When an ex-girlfriend and I went to see Robbie Williams live at some big arena gig, and he sang My Way, and I said to her, come on. I love Robbie, he's got a great voice, but he can't be doing My Way, that's ridiculous. And at the end he said, I'd like to dedicate that to Frank Skinner, that was in the audience tonight.
I bet you felt such a git.
I felt a git beyond git.
Did you?
Postgit.
Oh,
Git Plus.
I like Beyond Git. Could that be your new autobiography?
No, I don't think I've ever truly got beyond it. Yes. So, und, as they say in Germany.
Well, speaking of trick-or-treating and your new burden, Frank.
I thought you were going to say your new bird. I thought it was going to be a bit 90s. No. I was going to say, can't say that.
The bowl of sweets by the front door.
Are they still there?
Well, some of them are. I've eaten most of them. It's like the holy water bowl when you go in and out of church.
Have you got any of the lipsticks?
What are they?
I said grandfather clock ticking.
Sorry, I was just kicking the lower section of my stool. Listen.
I don't do that. Yeah, it does lend
a drawing room atmosphere to the
it sounds
radio show.
I like that.
God, it sounds like someone's about to say, come.
Pierre always performs in a velvet jacket, of course, and if you're aware of that.
It's the sort of noise you'd expect.
Oh, he collects the bits. Yeah.
Frank, it's the sort of noise you'd expect to hear in the drawing room of the gentleman who said to my father, fellow noticed me things.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so helpful.
I do apologise. Well, Pierre was talking and I interrupted.
Well, as a sweet aficionado, Frank, did you see the news that there will be this Christmas no bounties in the celebrations?
Oh, yes.
Well, I'll tell you something about this, is that there was a lot of bounties in the trick-or-treat this year. When I walk past that bowl, it's like walking past a 1980s version of The Body Shop. The smell of coconut coming from it. And yeah, so and I had a bounty out of the bowl, and it was, you know, when
Frank, that's still really annoying.
I'm sorry, I don't know where to put my feet.
Yeah, but you've got some Dave Allen affair going on around there.
Yeah, anyway. So I forgot what I was saying now.
You were talking about the bounty.
Oh, yeah, so I had a bounty out of the trick-or-treat bowl. And you know when chocolate, I believe the term is oxidizes. It's got that.
It's not got the white bits.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone sort of grey on the outside. So that is, I think, someone has had those, well, let's get rid of those bounties. So I did wonder then, is if there's an anti-bounty thing. But I was shocked. I mean, everyone's saying, well, you know, this is just a publicity stunt and everyone's talking about it and that's great for them. Yeah. But I mean, like, celebrations need advertising. And also my advertising for them is I shall never buy celebrations again. And I urge you all to join me in that boycott. Because I think it was Mark Twain who said, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. And this idea that people don't like... Who are these people who don't like bounty?
Well, they're saying it's young people.
Oh.
So it's now... I mean,
there's another 7 flavours they can have.
But it's now got to the stage...
What about Grandma?
I'll be all right. It's now got to the stage.
Yes.
You can't even dig your hand in for a chocolate treat without someone saying, OK, boomer, just because of the chocolate you chose.
Right? Oh,
that's what they say to us, Frank.
I think it's the worst. If it is a marketing trick, which it obviously is, it's the worst marketing decision since we were introduced to the man behind the Go Compare opera singer. And he is now in the advert. What, we want to see behind the scenes of the Go Compare man? No, we don't want the making of Go Compare. Thanks very much.
It's apocalypse now.
Oh, it's the worst idea.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
We're talking about the bounty, Frank.
Yes.
And they are saying 39% of people wanted them banished. Hence the trial removal. I don't like the trial. They keep referring to it as the trial, like some sinister Kafka experiment.
Yeah.
Can I remind you when 48% of people wanted to remain in the EU?
Yeah.
Of course that didn't happen because 52 In other words, 52% of the people who voted wanted to leave. That was that. 39%. When did that win? What is it?
Well, exactly.
GCSEs? I think 40% is surpassed. I didn't even make a GCSE pass. CSE grade 2 is what 39% is. And now they're going to act on that by removing the bounty. I'm
I say-
unhappy about it. I like bounties.
Justice for the 60%, Frank.
I'm a fan of bounties, I have to
Yes.
say.
Are you? Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
Frank,
I
that's
don't
good
like it.
news. That's good news that Pierre likes the bounty.
I'm a man out of time.
Look, first they came for the lime barrels and I did not speak out. And now it's the bounties.
I tried to, as this will come as no surprise to you, Frank, having spent so much time in a car with me, I immediately researched the bounty.
Of course you did. Did you come across the verb, or is it an adjective, enrobed?
That is absolutely what I was about to bring up.
Yes.
So hang on, what? So the chocolate casing, is that, do they use the term enrobe?
I've seen it used for other bars.
Really?
Enrobement is a
it-
chocolatey jargon.
It's quite papal.
Enrobed.
It's
It
quite
is.
papal.
I was going to say that they're an inch away from saying it has chocolate raiment.
It is, yeah. I wish they'd said that. There are a whole host of words in the chocolate world I've never really... You know, when you read the menu on a box of chocolates, I've always thought, how safe do you have to be in life to read the menu of a box? Just have a chocolate. If you don't like it, spit it out.
How wrong can
People
it
saying,
go?
oh, I'm not sure. And it's still funny. We don't know what they are anyway. Oh, yeah, I'm making a decision based on it being Montélimar. Well, what is it? What is that?
I've never
What's
been...
That's
Ganache.
why,
Fondant?
that's why I favour the
Foreign.
roses.
Oh,
I know they're a bit 1970s pensioner, but hear me out, because I think
that's my catchment area.
I find them more descriptive. That's where you get Golden Barrel and such like. And hazelnut swirl and things like that.
But
Brazilian darkness they
They
have as well.
ditched my favourite as well.
Did they? What was your favourite?
Which was the purple one that had like it's a big, it's purple wrapper, and it had inside it looked that it had a texture on the surface of the. It wasn't enrobed. It was. It's
have
like
one
like a
large
shell,
knot?
and it had a knot in it.
That made me sick. How can you? Why would you want to come across that?
Look, there are some people in my life, and I thought of this when I was at Comic-Con. We're outsiders. We don't follow the herd. We have individual tastes. And the idea that that be eradicated, in an age where we celebrate difference, the bounty is going to be removed because 39% don't like it. Everything is wrong about it. Like I say, I will never buy these again. And
Never buy these again.
I won't. This is it for me. And some of the ones that's got through, like Twix remains, Bounty goes, and Twix. It's a biscuit. It's a biscuit.
What
closing.
about Malteser teaser? That makes me ill.
I don't mind the Malteser.
No,
teaser.
it's Malteser tea. What? Do you understand what that is?
Yes.
Okay.
I know my way.
Strangest argument we've ever had.
I know my way around the celebrations. I like a Malteser. I don't mind a Twix. You know, I don't mind a Twix. I think a Twix is rubbish.
Yeah,
basically.
I agree.
I think it's deliberate. It's giving two fingers to the public in a very real way.
Snickers?
But my view, all right. But what I don't think, there's 8 varieties. So when I get them, I think, well, I won't have those. I'll have these. I don't like those. So I want those to not be in the box anymore because I don't like them. What kind of attitude is that?
Yeah. Bit gittish, maybe.
I mean, look at the TV ratings. Look at how many good programmes are in the top 10. And then look back at the 39%. Think again.
The best of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I was telling my associates and you all about my day at the Royal Variety Performance, where I was gradually getting more ill and more ill as the day went on, to the point where I said to George Ezra, you must You must know some things for a throat.
Yeah.
You said that to George Ezra.
Yeah, he's very approachable, George Ezra. He's
Well,
very-
you must know some things.
No, I
with
said
throat.
George. I said George.
Extraordinary introduction.
My throat's killing me. I said, you must know. You're a singer. He said, I worked with a woman and she used to swear by wearing wet socks for a sore throat. I said, George, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, I didn't get it, but she used to wear them like on the
You must have
tour
thought
bus.
you were having a sort of fevered vision. At this
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
George Ezra mumbling to you
And
about
then we
wet socks.
discussed Tom. I'd seen Tom Jones, an audience with Tom Jones, and George Ezra said, "Yeah, he likes a vocal zone." I said, "He does." He said, "I've seen him like shoving them in the tops of his gums when I saw him doing the thing, he had about 20 during the recording, the Tom
Vocal
Jones
zone.
thing. Anyway, so that was that. I'm name dropping a bit. It's hard not to when you're at the Royal Variety performance because they're all out. So we went out for the dress rehearsal. We were singing Three Lions, and I was. I've sang some bad versions of it, but it was honestly like. That was how it came out. And I looked across and I looked across at the orchestra. I thought they'll be mocking me. And who was sitting in the box seat?
Who was it?
Dave Arch.
Oh, shut up.
Dave Arch, the King of Strictly. So I went over and I said, Dave, I'm such a mess. He goes, oh, no, come on. I said, honestly, you're a legend. You know? I said, we'll talk about you on the radio. He said, oh, come on. He was really sort of... I said, I really want a photo, but I don't have my camera with me. I said, I just sort of, you know, we shook hands and stuff. So he's probably ill now. And he was all right last night, if I could tell. But I thought it was an interesting thing, sort of spiritual selfie. I just sort of stood by him and I thought I'll carry that in my heart instead of my my
Frank, what should
phone.
we call Dave Arch fans? Can we think of
And we
one?
can't do this all day because I'm going to name a lot
I
of
didn't say
things.
all day. I did not say all day.
Okay.
I said Dave Arch.
Okay. I don't know what we're going to call them. Architects.
Lovely.
I thought that wasn't a million miles away from chivalry. One of my all-time lows.
Absolute Radio.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
So Ross Buchanan played Three Lions. It's Coming Home for Christmas, I think it's called. And the driver turned and said, so that's some more money for you. Oh. I thought, that's what it's always the money. But then Ross Buchanan, about 10 minutes later, said, right, now I'm going to play my first Christmas song of the year. And I thought, hold on. So anyway, I'm going to get in touch with him about it.
Oh, I'm sure he'll look forward to that.
No, he's a very lovely fellow.
So what else happened at the Royal
Well,
Variety?
you know what usually happens? I struggled, I croaked through, really was in physical pain singing Three Lions, but got through it. I did get to play ukulele with Chic and Nile Rodgers and Sam Ryder. And Sam Ryder, I gotta say, is beyond the nicest man you could ever meet in your life. I wanted to I want to move into a commune with him and Becky Hill. Anyway, well, not everyone I met was nice. Then we have our royal thing. Now, it was Prince Edward and Sophie Wessex, as she's called. I think the Earl and Countess of Wessex and Forfar is their official title, which must be they'd given all the older siblings all the good places like Wales, and then they say, right, so a fictional, not fiction, we'll have an Anglo-Saxon kingdom that doesn't exist anymore, and a Scottish League Division 2 football club. That's for you two. Mom, that's it.
What I like about Forfar is it sounds very much what an aristocrat would call a grandparent or a parent. Jacob Rees-Mogg, like,
Yeah.
Forfar.
My fault.
Yeah, or an aristocrat laughing. So anyway, we lined up, and they all come. You wait for them, and they come and say something. So it's the modern world. So Sophie led the way, and bear in mind, I'd had a really hard day, and I'd battled on like a trooper. So she comes up, and me and Dave, and she says, "Well, don't give up your day job." No, this is not how the royal walk thing works.
What's her job?
And we honestly said,
Heckles.
pardon? And it was like, no, it's supposed to be just banal compliments, not.
Well done.
And I said, well, it was it that bad? And she said, well, I could tell, it's not what you do. And I said,
She's got the line
so
right, hasn't
normally
she?
we're like, comics. She said, yeah, but you're on screen, aren't you? You're not used to a live crowd. I said, well, we've done a bit of live stuff, stand up and stuff. But she's sticking with it. She said, yeah, but you haven't done anywhere the size of this. I said, look, I did the Palladium last Sunday. And I thought, she looked at me like, you're not supposed to be arguing. I don't think you're supposed to be arguing with me. You're supposed to just nod. It was a really awkward thing. And then he comes over, Edward.
Punches you in the face.
It won't be as good as that, but I'll tell you after this.
The best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I don't know if this is old age, the fact I was ill, or the fact it was Prince Edward, but I can't remember the first thing he said to me. I said, oh, well, that's a good review, because that was also quite a negative thing about our performance. But I can't remember what it was. If David Baddiel's listening, he might remind me. But he went on to say that a lot of people think that he is Charles's son, not his brother. Oh. And as he was telling me, I thought, I've never in my life met anyone who thinks that. But fine. And then I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. They were sort of, they were nice. I think what's happened is they don't really do this stuff much, and they're a bit. They've been a bit reduced in numbers for various reasons. And so they're being pulled out to do this. And it's a bit of a skill, just talking to someone for 10 minutes and not upsetting them. But there was a bit where it just died, the conversation, which it never happens with the royals. It just died. And there was a moment which probably was 3 seconds and felt like 10 minutes. And he said, so, things are well? And I thought, no, come on. And in the end, I started to think, I wanted to put my arm around him a bit. I think it's tough.
Well, if you're not match fit either.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Rusty off the bench.
That's it. They've been called off. It's like when the reserve goalie comes off. Now, you know what I mean? You're like, he wasn't even expecting it. Oh, where's my gloves? Oh man!
You didn't see Prince Edward and his sort of waterproofs and trackies jogging on the spot.
No, it was. Yes.
How did he round things off? Was he a good finisher?
I think he was just.
He just spat on the floor and stormed off.
Glad to go away. Yeah, he just slapped me across. Yeah, no.
Poked you with his cane in the arm.
She was. Also, I got a bit distracted when he was talking to us. Do you remember I told you, think back, I went to Gifford Circus and there was 2 women who hung by their hair from high. Do you remember me telling you about that? And I was fascinated. I took photos so that I could sort of, when you do that thing that make your picture go bigger on your phone, to see if I could see any connection that was faking it. But the bigger it went, the more it was just someone hanging by their hair. It's incredible. So I was very keen to go and speak to them, and they were in the lineup later on, but they went quite
right.
quickly. But I was talking to Maisie Adam, the comedian, and she said she didn't know what they did because you don't get to see everyone's act. But she said that they went off and then they came back into the dressing room later with ice packs on their heads. So it must really hurt the hair switch. Oh man, they must be tearing away their scalps.
Do you think there was a chance that the ice packs were just having spoken to Sophie Wessex?
Oh, I feel bad now about Sophie. Look, it was, I was rubbish, and they were, like I say.
It's a bit insensitive having hair-based acts, though. I'm just saying.
Why?
There are people present who maybe that's not.
I think you wouldn't want hair if you saw someone with an ice pack on their head because their hair was hurting so much. Oof.
Did Edward talk to everyone then?
Oh yeah, they did the full rounds. I'm sure it went well everywhere. Maybe I was just, I don't know. Oh, anyway, that was it.
This is the best of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, I would like to formally thank you for my wonderful Christmas present, which you gave me this morning. It was, very simply, it's Brian Blessed's autobiography, and it's called Absolute Pandemonium.
Yes.
Which I would love him to do that show.
I'd love him to do that. Yeah, that would be a great show on here.
And then what he's done, I tell you what Brian's done. What he's done, some might say rather unnecessarily, he's got a little subtitle.
Yes.
And he's put in, obviously in block caps, My Louder Than Life Story.
Well, as I said, I wondered if the whole book might be in block capitals to suggest shouting. But he hasn't done that. He's gone lowercase. There's nothing lowercase about Brian Blessed, is there?
I'm so excited. Some of the pictures, there are some fabulous, a lot of Mark Antony with a lot of makeup, heavy theatre makeup on.
Oh, fabulous.
It's going to be good. Thank you so much.
Mon pleasure. Meanwhile, I turned to get the title of my book, but the philosophy of, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a Bob Dylan book about philosophy of modern song. I can't see the title for me. It was one of those great moments when I saw it in a shop and I thought I'm going to treat myself to that, and I didn't get it, and then someone has bought it for me. Risolta Mondo.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the thing. You know what? This happens to me. You might not know about this, Pierre, unless it came up in the van. But every now and again I am struck as if anew by the fact it's always Test cricket. I got up a couple of days ago and Test cricket live from Pakistan was on my television, and I have this, I would say to my partner, what about that? Actually, that's actually happening in Pakistan now. We can see it here. And look, and this time I embroidered it. I said, and look, there's snow outside. And we can see what's happening in Pakistan. And it really excites me.
Oh, I'm so pleased for
I'm going to say exhilarates. Yeah. I can't believe it.
I can't believe it. Bringing that old catchphrase back.
That I do believe it, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, was it?
I had another realisation this week. I went to Ryman's, which is one of my favourite days out.
Where else did you go? B-Jams? 1972 did you go to?
I love stationery, though, and in all its manifestations. And I bought... they had some Bic 4 Colours originals.
Sure.
Now, you know the ones I mean, the biro with a slide, so you can write. Now, I do a lot of colour coding in my stand-up writing, so I'll write in black, and then I'll go through and underline some stuff in blue, and then some stuff gets red.
Hang on, what do you mean with the slide?
So you've got 4 colours in the same pen.
Yeah.
You must remember this, baby.
Those!
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw this thing. There was a 3-pack, I'll be straight with you. And I thought, hold on, I I could just have one pen in my pocket instead of having to have a black one, a blue one, and a red one. And I've got green as a bonus. And it was like a moment of, oh my God. I hadn't thought of that. So I bought a 3-pack, and it had 2 Bic 4-color originals, and one I haven't even tried yet because I'm so excited. I don't want to rush you. A Bic 4-color Pro. What does that do? What does that do?
No training wheels on this pen.
Thought
On this
transfer.
baby.
Maybe I just think green and the slide slowly goes down. But what does the Pro do that the original doesn't do?
Are you ready for the Pro, though? Do you think?
Well, when do I try the Pro? I'm putting it off and putting it off.
Build a day of recovery.
And it's black, the Pro.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like a night
What sort of nib size are we?
pen.
What nib size are we talking?
Nib? Nib? Have you mistaken me for Charles Dickens?
The biro. Sorry. So, do you dispense with
It's a
the
ball.
concept of
Operated
the
by
nib?
it's a ball operated.
It's a ball, but I would still call the tip the nib. Are we not allowed to use nib?
No, it's not a nib. Not having that. Just standard. I don't know what it is on the Pro. It might flare out into like a, those brushes that you see jazz drummers using. It might have something like. Who knows what the Pro will be? I'll have to tell you after the holidays if I've dared to try it by then. I'm really expecting. If there's a stationery enthusiast who knows what the Bic 4-color Pro does that the Bic 4-color original doesn't, I'm happy to have my joy anticipated.
The best of Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
So last week, it was 2 weeks ago, in fact, you'd been discussing what the best underwater remake of an existing thing.
Things that normally are on dry land but get done underwater, like chess was my example.
Yes. And Matthew Richardson has tweeted the show saying underwater hockey apparently is a thing, or it's also known as octopush.
Wow.
Sorry, is that based on Sean Connery trying to say half of the film Roger Moore was in?
Very fine. Or is it someone coaching a octopus giving birth?
I mean, that would be quite a sight for sore eyes.
Well, wouldn't it though? Eh? Which legs are you going to open?
Do you like octopi?
No.
It's the best response.
I don't think they're disgusting. They're really the most vile-looking creatures I've ever seen in my life. Anyway,
There's no, you can't leave me at anyway. No, disgusting.
there's nothing about them that I like. Their eyes are in like the wrong place, and the soccer things, ink. I mean, what's going on? Ink. Who takes ink out as a defence? I mean,
Your dad. I mean,
Who's
that was
Charles
all.
Dickens being attacked? God.
Frank.
And also distinguish yourself from a squid. I have no idea which is which. It's like when you're doing shopping at the supermarket. Put the separator there so we know where the squid ends and the octopus.
Where are the
begins.
eyes, Frank? Are they on the top of the head?
Where are they indeed? And that sort of pointed, it's like a beak they've got. It's so disgusting. They've got like a pointed opening beak thing.
Have they?
Yeah, it looks like they could hold a sheet of newspaper or something if they needed to.
It's the
Maybe a
animal-
note if it was an octopus football match.
The animal kingdom is being taken down. You did Pine Martins the other week.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
nothing against Pine Martins, but oh man,
I tell you what, I'm not overly fond of anything in the sea.
really?
Yeah. Do you know what? I've never seen eye to eye with these people. Whenever I go in there,
a different world,
you know
isn't
what I think? You're all right. You can have it.
Yeah.
You're welcome to your aquatic adventures.
It's exactly the sort of approach that Aquaman and Prince Namor are looking for from us landlubbers.
But Frank, they've always got weird eyes.
They got all ornery. The deeper you get, the worse they get. That's right. Because
What about the teeth?
There's no mirrors down there. Clearly.
Would it kill them to clean their teeth? Have you seen the teeth on these things?
I don't even want to think about it.
For Queer Eye. We'll get Queer Eye onto the underwater
I
kingdom.
saw a fish. I mean, not in real life, because I would never have gone down that deep, because I know what they look like down there. Massive mouth with these disgusting teeth.
Exactly. Get a bit closer. You know the aquapoise lampfishes that have that? Get a bit closer to one of them and have a look at yourself.
This is blobfish shaming.
Stay down there. Fine, it's dark. If you're going to come up, phone the aquapoise fish and just say, how do I look? Does my beak look big in this? Says the octopus. Anyway, I don't think we saw that conversation coming. Thank you for listening to us this morning. Steve, it's great to see you, as ever.
You too.
And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back. Well, I hope the creeks don't rise with those monsters in it. We'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The best of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.